You have authority, but not enough. You see the problems, but can't fix them all. Your team looks to you for answers while your boss gives you contradictory directions. Welcome to middle management, where you're simultaneously too powerful and powerless, where every day feels like translating between two different languages. If you've ever felt like you're caught in an organizational sandwich, this episode is for you. Because middle managers don't just implement change, they are the key to whether change actually happens. This is the second part in a series on leading change from where you are, and today we're talking about leading from the middle, and why your position, despite all its frustrations, might be the most crucial spot in the entire organization. Let me paint you a picture that probably sounds familiar. Your CEO announces a new strategic initiative. Your team immediately lists 17 reasons why it won't work. Guess who gets to make it happen anyway? You're the human translation layer between vision and reality, between what we want to achieve and what's actually possible. But here's what nobody tells you. This position, frustrating as it is, gives you unique power. You understand both business needs and the operational reality. You can see around corners that neither your boss nor your team can see. That perspective is your superpower. McKinsey studied organizational transformations and found something remarkable. Only 30% succeed. But when they looked at the successful ones, middle management engagement was the defining factor. You're not just implementing someone else's vision, you're the ones who make it actually work. Think about it. Frontline employees trust you because you understand their daily reality. Senior leadership listens to you because you deliver results. You're the bridge between strategy and execution. Without you, change initiatives are just expensive PowerPoint presentations. Here's the first challenge. You need to create a compelling narrative that connects business needs with human motivations. Your boss cares about quarterly results. Your team cares about meaningful work and not being overwhelmed. Your job? Find the story that makes both true. Let's say the directive from above is increase efficiency by 20%. That sounds like code for work harder for the same pay to your team. But what if the real story is we're competing against companies that move faster than us? If we can streamline our processes, we can spend more time on the work that actually matters and less time on administrative busy work. Same goal, completely different story. And story is everything. Every day you're translating between two different worlds. Upward translation, the team is concerned about bandwidth becomes we need to sequence these initiatives to maintain quality standards. Downward translation, we need to optimize resource allocation becomes here's how we're going to prioritize so you're not drowning. This isn't about spinning the truth. It's about finding the truth that both sides can understand and act on. Stephen Covey's circle of influence model is perfect for your situation. Within your circle of influence, you have three categories. Direct control, how you behave, how you communicate, how you prioritize, how you support your team. Indirect control, your relationships, your credibility, your ability to influence peers and leadership. No control, company strategy, market conditions, your boss's personality, global economic forces. Here's the key. A lot of middle managers waste too much of their energy on the no control category, complaining about strategy, wishing leadership would change, frustrated by market realities. Meanwhile, their circle of influence sits unused. Focus all your energy on what you can influence. Watch how much your circle of influence grows. Want to see immediate impact? Start with the environment you directly control, your team. You can't change company culture overnight, but you absolutely can change how your team operates, how they collaborate, how they handle conflicts, how they support each other. Create psychological safety in your meetings. Make it okay to surface problems early. Celebrate people who bring up concerns before they become crises. When your team starts performing differently, people notice. Success gives you credibility to influence outward. Now for the hard part. What do you do when you're required to implement changes you don't believe in? Be authentic with your team. You don't have to pretend every directive from above is brilliant. You can say, look, this isn't ideal, but here's what we're dealing with. Let's figure out how to implement this in a way that minimizes the impact on what we really care about. Your team will respect your honesty. They'll work with you to find solutions instead of working against the change. And here's the beautiful part. When you're transparent about constraints, your team often comes up with creative workarounds you never would have thought of. Successfully leading from the middle requires specific skills. Pattern recognition. You see the same issues repeatedly across different initiatives. Start documenting these patterns and propose systemic solutions. Stakeholder translation. Learn to speak both languages fluently. Understand what motivates people above and below you. Expectation management. Be realistic about timelines and outcomes. Under-promise and over-deliver. Solution orientation. Always come with options, not just problems. Even better, come with recommendations. Your value isn't in saying yes to everything, it's in making things actually work. Sometimes you need to push back upward, but do it strategically. Instead of, that timeline is impossible, try, here are 3 scenarios for delivery. Fast, complete, or high quality. Which 2 matter most? Instead of, my team is already overwhelmed, try, here's our current capacity. If we take this on, here's what gets delayed. Frame pushback as business decisions, not personal resistance. Remember, you are not the only middle manager dealing with this. Build relationships with your peers. That colleague in a different department who's also trying to implement changes, they are your natural ally. Share what's working, learn from their experiments. Create informal channels for middle managers to support each other. Sometimes a quick conversation with a peer solves a problem that would take weeks to resolve through formal channels. The middle management network is often more effective than the official hierarchy. Here's where middle managers have a unique advantage. You can see what actually gets adopted versus what gets ignored. Track which changes your team embraces and which they resist. Look for patterns. What made the successful changes different? Usually, it's because they solved a real problem the team faced, the team was involved in designing the solution, the change made their work easier, not harder. Use these insights to influence how future changes get designed and rolled out. Here's exactly what to do this week. Monday, list the top 3 tensions between what leadership wants and your team needs. Don't solve them yet, just name them clearly. Tuesday, for each tension, identify one small way you could bridge the gap. What's in your circle of influence? Wednesday, have an honest conversation with your team about current pressures. Ask for their input on solutions. Thursday, document one pattern you keep seeing across different initiatives. What's the systemic issue? Friday, have a strategic conversation with a peer about what's working and what isn't. 5 days, 5 actions. Start building your influence systematically. When middle managers get it right, the impact multiplies in every direction. Your team performs better, which gets leadership's attention. Your success makes other middle managers curious about your approach. Your peer network strengthens, making everyone more effective. You become known as someone who makes things work, who finds solutions, who can be trusted with bigger challenges. That reputation becomes your ticket to greater influence and better opportunities. Middle management gets a bad rep. You're blamed for resistance to change and criticized for not having vision. But here's the truth. Organizations don't change because of brilliant strategies. They change because someone figured out how to make those strategies work in the real world. They change because someone translated vision into action, someone built trust between levels, someone made it safe to try new things. That someone is you. This is part 2 of our 3-part series on leading change from where you are. Last time, we covered leading from the front lines, how to drive change without formal authority. Next time, leading from the top, when you have the power to make changes but need the wisdom to make them stick. Each level has unique challenges, but they all depend on middle managers to make change actually happen. Right now, there's a change initiative in your organization that's struggling. It might be well-intentioned, but it's not working because nobody figured out how to bridge the gap between intention and reality. What if you were the person who made it work? Not by forcing compliance, not by just following orders, but by understanding what everyone needs and finding a path that serves all stakeholders. You have the perspective, you have the relationships, you have the position to be the change agent your organization desperately needs. Find your story, bridge the gaps, make change work. Share this with another middle manager who's feeling stuck. Let's support each other in making organizations actually function. This is the Liberty Framework. Change happens in the middle. See you next time.